Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachalara Ramanaya. Namaskaram. Today we are celebrating Bhagavan's Aradhana. That is the day when Bhagavan left the body. But though he seemingly left the body, he did not leave at all. When when devotees were weeping, knowing that the body would soon be dying, and he said, "Why are you weeping?" He said, "Bhagavan, because you're leaving us." He said, where can I go? I am always here." When he said, "I am always here," he didn't just mean he was in Tiruvannamalai. Of course, he is always there in a very special way. He's always there in the form of Arunachala, and he's always there in his shrine in Ramanashram. But he meant much more than that. When he said, "I am always here," that means he is eternally present. In one verse in Sri Ramana Sannidhi Murai, Sri Murugana sings, "The whole universe is Ramanashram," because Bhagavan is omnipresent. He's present in every place. There's no time or no place where he isn't present, because he is being itself. He is Sat. He is the underlying reality of all appearances. So there's no place where he is not present. And he is most intimately present in the heart of each one of us as our own being, as our fundamental awareness, I am. He is Sat Chit, and that Sat Chit is what is always shining in our heart as I am. But Bhagavan Sampradāya, the Ramana Sampradāya, is an unusual Sampradāya in many respects. But one significant respect in which this Sampradāya is unusual is this is a Sampradāya without a parampara. In almost all other Sampradāyas, there is a parampara, a lineage of gurus. But Bhagavan left no lineage of gurus. This is not a deficiency, it is actually a great strength. As I was saying, in this Sampradāya, there is no parampara, no lineage of gurus. This is not a deficiency, this is actually a great strength. Bhagavan, why this is, and it's extremely significant, the reason there is no Sampradāya here is that Bhagavan is the eternal Guru. There is no need for a succession of gurus, because Bhagavan is ever present as the eternal Guru. That is, Bhagavan is a Guru in a very different sense to the sense in which the term Guru is usually used. Usually the term Guru is used to refer to a human being. Bhagavan is not just a human being. Though he appeared in human form, he is the eternal reality. As he says at the beginning of the 12th paragraph of Nana, Kadavalum Guruvum Unmayil Verala. God and Guru are in truth not other. People often say Guru is God, but they often say it in a very superficial sense. Not every Guru is God in the same sense that Bhagavan is God. Bhagavan is Sakshat Shiva Swarupa. He's Arunachala himself, who appeared in human form to give us these teachings. Arunachala is always teaching in silence, and what he is teaching in silence, Bhagavan has conveyed to us in words. Because our minds are outward going, and that silence is ever shining in our heart as our own being, because we are looking outwards, we are not able to understand the silent teachings. So it was necessary for Bhagavan to appear in human form to give us teachings in words. And the teachings he gave us is exactly what Arunachala is eternally teaching in silence. In Aksharamlai, he sings, he tells us what Arunachala taught him. He says, Tirumbiya ham dene dinamaha kankan teriyam and dranayan Arunachala. Tirumbiya ham means turning within. Tane dinam ahakankan means daily see yourself with the inner eye. Teriyam, it will be known. Indranayan Arunachala. Thus you said, my Arunachala. So Arunachala obviously didn't say this in words because Arunachala is in the form of a mountain. This is what Arunachala is eternally teaching in silence. Because we cannot understand this silent and omnipresent teaching, but the same Arunachala appeared in the form of Bhagavan to give us these teachings in words. The perfect teaching is the teaching in silence, because silence is the very nature of the reality. Silence means pure being, and pure being alone can reveal itself. Nothing other than pure being can reveal itself. So silence is the only medium through which the truth can be conveyed. However, the words that Bhagavan has taught us, though they do not convey the truth directly, they point us in the right direction. Bhagavan's teachings telling us to turn within and see ourselves. If we follow these teachings, the truth will reveal itself. So, who is Bhagavan? He himself revealed in a verse that he composed, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was in reply to a question that Amritanath Yatendra, a devotee called Amritanath Yatendra, wrote in a verse in Malayalam. Bhagavan replied in a verse in Malayalam and then immediately translated that verse into Tamil. Because Malayalam and Tamil are very similar languages, the Malayalam version and Tamil version are almost identical, except for a few syllables here and there. So in the Tamil version, what he sings is, Ariyat, in the first half, the first two lines, he sings, Ariyati Tarajivara Dahavari Jaguhayil Arivairami Paramatuman Arunachala Ramanan. That is the Paramatma, but Rami means to revel or to blissfully exist. So the Paramatma that blissfully exists, Arivai, as awareness. That's that fundamental awareness I am. That's what it implies. In the cave of the heart lotus of all, beginning from all different jivas, beginning with Hari. So from the highest God down to the most insignificant jiva, down to the smallest insect, what is shining as awareness in the heart of all, that is Arunachala Ramana. So that's why Bhagavan said, where can I go? I am here. Because he's ever present as awareness. And that awareness, of course, is being. Sat is Chit and Chit is Sat. So when he says he exists blissfully as awareness, he implies that he's that Satchitananda that is ever shining in the heart of all of us. But Bhagavan doesn't just say things and ask us to believe it. He shows us how we can experience this ourselves. So in the second half of that verse, he sings, he points out how we can experience this for ourselves. He sings, Parival ulam uruha nal paranandidu guhayandu aribam viri tirava nijam arivai adu veliyam. that begins very significantly with the term parival ulum uruha, heart melting with love. That is, as Bhagavan often said, bhakti is the mother of jnana. Without all-consuming love, we cannot follow this path of self-investigation and self-surrender. So, a heart melting with love, when one reaches the cave where that sublime, that divine supreme dwells, arivam viri tirava, the eye of awareness opening, nijam arivai, you'll know the truth, you'll know the reality, you'll know that which is innate, that which is natural, that which is ever existing. That's what nijam implies. Adu veliyam. Adu veliyam literally means it will come out. That means it will reveal itself. So Bhagavan's words point us in the direction in which we should look in order for the reality to reveal itself. That is, when we look within to see what we actually are, we will thereby subside. And where do we subside? We subside back into the source from which we've risen. The source from which we've risen is that eternally silent, pure being. So by looking within, we subside and merge back into the silence that is our own real nature. Bhagavan has revealed, one of the unique things that Bhagavan has revealed, one of the things that he has made clear more explicitly than it has been made clear in any of the old texts, though it may have been very indirectly implied in older texts. Bhagavan has made it very, very clear that the nature of ego is that is, ego cannot rise, stand, or flourish without attending to things other than itself. But if instead of attending to other things, if it attends to itself, it will thereby subside and merge back into its source. So, this is what Bhagavan pointed this out in so many ways and on so many occasions, but he made it particularly clear in verse 25 of Uludunapadu, in which he talks about the nature of ego. He describes the ego as Uruvatra Peyahande. Uruvatra Pey means a formless demon. Pey means the same as Pisasha in Sanskrit. It's a demon. So this ego is a demon, but it is formless. It has no form of its own. Since it has no form of its own, it's got no separate existence of its own. So it seems to have a separate existence only when it grasps form, when it identifies itself with the form of a body. So he begins the verse saying, Urupatri undam, grasping form, it comes into being. Urupatri nikum, grasping form, it endures. That is, as soon as we rise as ego, we project and grasp the form of a body as I. And we cannot stand for a moment. As ego, we cannot endure for a moment without constantly identifying this body as I. And then in the third sentence, he says, Urupatri undu mika ongum, grasping and feeding on forms, it flourishes abundantly. That is, having grasped the form of a body as I, we don't stop there. The mind is constantly going outwards, grasping form. Form here means any vishaya, any object or phenomena is a form of one kind or another. So the mind is constantly going outwards, attending to forms. Since ego is itself formless, whatever it attends to is something other than itself. So the forms that it is constantly grasping are things other than itself. So what grasping form implies is attending to things other than ourselves. And then he says, uru vittu rupatram, leaving form it grasps form, because it cannot stand for a moment without grasping form. If it leaves one form, it'll grasp another form. That is moment to moment, the mind is jumping from one thought to another thought to another thought. That's one sense in which that can be taken. Another sense is when we leave one body, we grasp another body. So this will continue until, so long as ego survives, this samsara will continue. In fact, in the previous verse, verse 24, he said this ego itself is samsara. There's no samsara other than ego, because the very nature of ego is to be embodied and thereby to experience all this endless or seemingly endless cycle of birth and death. But so how can we put an end to this? That is what he reveals in the next sentence. Tedinal otum pidicum. Tedinal literally means if seeking. He doesn't explicitly say what is to seek what, but the implication is if ego seeks to know its own reality. In other words, if ego investigates itself, instead of grasping forms, if it tries to grasp itself, otum pidicum. Otum pidicum means it will run away or it will take flight. So that's a metaphorical way of saying that by attending to itself, it will subside and dissolve back into its source. So this is the key teaching of Bhagavan, and he came to give us this very, very precious clue that in order to put an end to our rising as ego, all we need to do is to attend to ourselves. So this is the eternal truth that Arunachala is always teaching in silence, telling us always to turn within and see ourselves with the inner eye, as Bhagavan sings in Aksharamala. But because we failed to grasp this, Arunachala appeared in human form as Bhagavan Ramana to give us this teaching. So he has never gone anywhere, he never could go anywhere, because he's our own being. So he's the eternal Guru. So when he said God and Guru are in truth not different, he means that literally. There is no true Guru other than God. So it is God himself, Shiva himself, Arunachala Shiva himself, who has appeared in the form of Bhagavan Ramana to give us these teachings. So his grace now is no less than it was when he was present in the body. So he is eternal. The body has served its purpose. Through that body he has given us these teachings, but he is ever present as the eternal Guru. This is why he has not given us, he did not leave a parampara. He did not leave a succession of gurus, because that's unnecessary. He's the eternal Guru. So one important thing we should learn from this: no true disciple of Bhagavan will ever claim to be Guru. Sometimes people used to approach devotees such as Murugana and Sadhuam and ask them to be Guru, but they always said, no Guru is necessary other than Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the Guru of all of us. We are all his children. So do not take if any devotee of Bhagavan claims to be a Guru, they are not a true devotee of Bhagavan. They haven't understood Bhagavan correctly, because Bhagavan is ever present, ever shining in our heart as I. He is the eternal Guru. No other Guru is necessary. Because people have the general understanding of what Guru is a very crude understanding. Guru is not just a person outside who gives us teachings. Guru is the real work of Guru lies deep in our heart, where his grace is ever working to purify our mind and draw us within more and more and more. So this is the subtle work of Guru. This is the eternal work of Guru. This is the work we cannot adequately understand. Bhagavan expresses this beautifully in the first verse of Aksharamulai. He sings, Arivaru giriyena amadaru mamma adisayan idunsayal arivaridakam. That means it stands as if an insentient hill. Amma, that an expression of wonder. Idunsayal, its action, it's doing. Sayal means literally doing. That is the aral sayal, the doing of grace, the action of grace. Arivaridakam, it cannot be understood by anyone. That is, it's such a subtle, the working of grace is so subtle. That is ever going on in our heart. So merely by Bhagavan is doing everything without doing anything, just by being as he is. He's ever leading us unfailingly to subside back within. So he's kindling in our heart that love to turn back within. So the function of Guru is eternally and fully being fulfilled by Bhagavan, not by his doing anything, but by his just being as he actually is. In the 15th paragraph of Nana, he expresses this beautifully, giving the analogy of the sun rising without any effort or any will, but everything happening on earth just in the presence of the sun. Like that, he says all the Panchakritiyas, the Shrishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Tirodhana and Anugraha, that is creation, sustenance, dissolution, veiling and grace, all these are happening Isan Sanidhanam Visesha Matratal, by the mere special nature of the presence of God. So by Bhagavan just being as he is making everything happen as it's meant to happen. So he is the supreme. He is Arunachal Shiva himself. So to have a parampara in the context of Bhagavan's teachings would be meaningless, because a parampara is a succession of human beings, whereas Bhagavan is not a human being. Bhagavan is the eternal reality. He's the eternal Guru. He's Dakshinamurti himself. So he is the source of all the Vedas. He's the source of Vedanta. That's why he has summarized the whole of Vedanta. The essence of the Vedas is contained in Vedanta. As he sings in Aksharamulai, Vedantate Vedara Vilangum Veda Porul Vedantate Vedara Vilangum, which shines without another in Vedanta, Veda Porul, the import of the Vedas, bestow that import of the Vedas, that Ekam Eva Advaityam, one only without a second. That is the true import of the Vedas that shines in Vedanta. So the essence of the Vedas is Vedanta. The essence of Vedanta is Advaita. And the essence of Advaita is Bhagavan's teachings. So unlike other acharyas who wrote detailed commentaries on the Prasthanatraya, on the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutra and the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan hasn't written any detailed commentaries, but he's distilled the essence of them and given them to us in his own writings, in works like Nana, Uladu Napadu, Upadesha Undiya, and of course, most importantly, in Arunachal Stuti Panchakam, where he shows us the importance of heart-melting love to attain what is ever ours, namely our own real nature. So there's no parampara in this Ramana sampradāya because Bhagavan is the eternal Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Ramanaya.